You've been conditioned to believe that reality must show itself first, that the evidence comes before the belief. You say, I'll believe it when I see it. But that's not how the universe works. That's not how energy works. And it's certainly not how you create anything meaningful in your life. Let me tell you something radical but absolutely true. The moment you insist on seeing proof before you believe, you've already shut the door to possibility. You're not waiting on a miracle. The miracle is waiting on you. The greatest trap we fall into is outsourcing our faith to the world around us. We think if the bank account grows, we'll feel abundant. If the relationship appears, we'll feel loved. If the job arrives, we'll feel valuable. But all of that is backwards. Because life isn't responding to your needs. It's responding to your energy, your consciousness, your belief. Think about it. The person who believes they're worthy walks differently, speaks differently, shows up differently. They don't need the world to tell them who they are. They decide who they are, and the world follows. Meanwhile, the one who's constantly scanning the horizon for signs, for proof, for permission, never moves. Or worse, they move with hesitation, fear, and doubt, and life mirrors that back. More hesitation, more fear, more reasons to doubt. You are not a camera recording reality. You are a projector casting it. That's the secret. This is why some people with fewer resources, fewer opportunities, and no obvious advantage still rise. They're not waiting. They're not checking the weather of circumstances. They've already decided what kind of world they live in, and their reality bends to meet that decision. And here's what's most important. It's not about blind optimism. It's not about pretending. It's about understanding the nature of creation, that thought is first cause, that your inner conviction precedes your outer result. So when you say, I'll believe it when I see it, you're not being rational, you're being resistant. You're locking yourself in a loop where life can never surprise you because you've already decided not to believe until it's too late. But when you flip the script, when you believe before you see, you unlock a power most people never touch. And that leads us to the deeper truth, one that most people miss entirely. Let me make something clear. Belief is not sitting in silence, whispering affirmations while secretly doubting everything you say. Belief is not hoping. Belief is knowing. And that knowing has a frequency. It has weight. It moves the invisible. Most people treat belief like it's a wish, something they want to feel, if only life would cooperate. But that's not belief. That's delay, dressed up as desire. Belief doesn't wait for evidence. Belief becomes the evidence. When you truly believe something, when you know it deep in your being, it changes your posture. You stop begging. You stop chasing. You stop leaking energy trying to convince the world to give you what you already decided is yours. You walk with calm authority. You speak with certainty. You move like someone who belongs where they're going, not someone begging to be let in. That's the energy that shifts things. See, belief isn't something you hold in your mind, it's something you embody. And when you embody belief, life has no choice but to rearrange around you. Think of the woman who knows she's healed, even when the diagnosis says otherwise. Her cells begin responding to her certainty. Her body begins obeying her belief. Or the entrepreneur who invests in their vision before the first customer arrives because they know it's real. That clarity becomes magnetic. People feel it, opportunities feel it. You cannot fake the frequency of true belief. You can memorize quotes, you can write down dreams, but unless you become the version of you who already has what you're asking for, nothing moves. And that's where the power is. Not in the words you say, but in the vibration you live in. The world doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you are. This is why people can repeat affirmations for years and still feel stuck. They're trying to decorate the outside of a house whose foundation they never rebuilt. They say, I am wealthy, but walk like someone in fear. They say, I am loved, but settle like someone forgotten. They don't believe, not really. And life mirrors that back. But when belief becomes your baseline, when it stops being an exercise and becomes your identity, the shift is unstoppable. And that shift leads us to something even more powerful. You can't manifest abundance from a mindset of scarcity. You can't manifest love while clinging to unworthiness. You can only manifest what you believe you are. This is where most people fail, and they fail quietly. Not because they aren't trying hard enough, or visualizing, or scripting their perfect future. They fail because at the identity level, they're still living as the person before the miracle. Let me explain. The universe doesn't speak your words, it speaks your vibration. And that vibration flows from identity. If you say, I want success, but you are someone who doubts, hesitates, and self-sabotages, the universe doesn't hear your words. It hears, I am someone who wants, not someone who has. And wanting is a vibration of separation. It keeps what you desire just out of reach forever, slightly ahead of you, like a train you never catch. That's why you can write goals every January and wonder by June why nothing stuck. You were writing from the old self, trying to drag it into a new future. But the old self can't enter the new reality. It doesn't have the access code. You need to become someone else. Not by pretending, not by forcing, but by recognizing what's already true inside you, the part of you that's always known you were meant for more. The part that whispers, even when you try to silence it, there's something greater here. Identity doesn't mean who you are today. It means who you consistently be. You can't just believe you're a healthy person and then act like someone addicted to chaos. You can't believe you're valuable and then keep saying yes to everything that drains you. Your decisions are the proof of your belief. And your identity is shaped by what you tolerate, what you expect, and what you embody, not what you hope for. This is why transformation feels uncomfortable. Because becoming someone new requires the death of who you've been. Not physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. You stop engaging with old stories. You stop feeding old fears. You stop defending your limits. And from that space, a new identity begins to form. One that doesn't just say, I want more, but one that lives as if more is already true. That's when the universe starts responding differently. That's when people treat you differently because they're not reacting to your goals. They're responding to your being. Look around you. Every object in your life, the house you live in, the job you hold, the relationship you're in, it all began in the invisible. It began in a thought, a belief, an expectation. You didn't find your life, you formed it. That's why I tell people, don't try to fix the outside. Fix the inside, and the outside will recalibrate. But most people don't do this. They're busy rearranging furniture in a house that's crumbling at the foundation. They try new tactics, switch routines, change jobs, move cities, but nothing sticks because the builder, the architect, the creator within them hasn't changed. And so the same patterns repeat. New faces, old wounds, new opportunities, old doubts. Because the scenery changed, but the self didn't. When you don't heal your belief system, you drag it into every room you enter. You keep reacting to life instead of realizing you are the source of it. Think of two people standing in the same storm. One sees disaster, the other sees an invitation to build. Same circumstance, different consciousness. That's the power of belief. It doesn't just color your world, it constructs it. Let me ask you something. When you imagine your future, what version of yourself is doing the building? Is it the confident, clear, empowered you? Or is it the afraid, doubtful, wounded version you've been trying to grow out of? Because your life cannot outgrow your identity? If you want a peaceful home, you must first build peace inside. If you want financial abundance, you must first believe you are not lacking. If you want divine connection, you must believe you are already one with the divine. And I know this sounds simple, but it's the simplicity that makes it powerful. The world complicates this. It teaches you that happiness is outside of you, that love must be earned, that success is for the few. But the truth is this: your outer world is the echo of your inner one. It's a mirror, not a maker. So when something isn't working, stop adjusting the mirror. Adjust you. Your beliefs are building blueprints. Your emotions are the bricks. Your words are the hammers. You are creating whether you know it or not. And when you finally accept that responsibility, something incredible happens. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign from the heavens. You need one thing: to decide. Because the instant you truly believe, the shift begins. You start carrying yourself differently. You no longer look to the outside world to confirm your worth, your calling, or your vision. You become the confirmation. And here's what most people miss: the breakthrough doesn't come after the belief. It comes through the belief. When you walk like it's already yours, speak like you already have it, love like you're already whole, serve like you already overflow. The universe doesn't call that arrogance. It calls it alignment. This is not fake it till you make it. This is faith it till you feel it. Faith doesn't wait. Faith moves, and it moves with conviction. When you understand that reality follows belief, not the other way around, you stop negotiating with doubt. You stop waiting for others to approve what God already planted inside you. You stop living like a question mark and start living like an exclamation point. I've watched people change their lives not because they gained more knowledge, but because they finally agreed with what their soul already knew. They didn't get lucky. They got clear. And clarity is magnetic. Clarity creates momentum, because life can't give you what you won't claim. So here's the truth. You're not stuck. You're undecided. You've been waiting for conditions to change, but you are the condition. You've been waiting for the future to arrive, but you are the doorway to the future. It opens when you walk through it. And no, the evidence may not appear immediately. That's not a sign to retreat. That's the test, the space between the decision and the demonstration. Hold your frequency. Keep your posture. Continue acting like it's done, because it is. Not someday, not if, not maybe. Now, because that's how belief works. It calls the invisible into form. It collapses delay. It brings heaven to earth. So stop waiting for proof. Become it, and everything else will follow.